So this is just a quick walk around of the Cutlass I just picked up. It's a 66, originally from California, as you can tell by the rotted top and a little bit of cowl rot here. It was restored in the 80s at some point. This looks like Durlon paint that was common to do this kind of thing in the 80s. The car belonged to a apparently very amazing lady that was the aunt of the gentleman that I bought it from. Now, I could not get the hood open when I initially bought this, so I bought it without looking at the hood, just looking at the body. And a lot of folks are going to look at this video and at some of the photos that I've posted and say, what the hell was I thinking? You actually paid money for that thing. Yes I did. And I will get to the reason why in a moment. But for a lot of folks that are not car people, you'll be looking at this and saying that it looks to be a complete loss. Nobody in their right mind would try to save that. And back in the 90s, that was true. I actually junked a car that was a 442 version of this that was deemed as not savable for the same reason that this one technically should be taken out of service and needs a full rehab. And that is the fact that the cowl tray where the windshield meets the hood line is rotted out. And back in the 90s, that was a death nail for a car. Nobody would ever put the labor into doing that work to fix this car. Especially when you add to it how damaged the top is, and if you had gotten under the hood at that point and saw the damage under the hood. Like I say, I bought it sight unseen. I couldn't get the hood open, so I went off of just the outside body condition. But this is very good in the modern era here now in 2020. This is a bucket seat car, technically a one-owner car, low miles. All of the pieces and parts are here. Even though we've got a lot of surface rust, most of the damage to this car was actually caused by storage. The rotted top would have been from the California sun. And a lot of the paint damage, the start of the flaking, was due to the California sun. But all this damage under the hood, this car would have been very, very clean when it was parked. This damage is actually due to a plastic tarp being put over the car for 30 years. And it's what's considered hot boxing. What happens, because you've got the tarp on top of the car, but concrete or ground under the car sweats, and then the water gets trapped under the car. And it will find places like the engine bay and that to condense. And then you've got very lime-rich water that tends to rot the cars from the top down. So, and that's what happened here, is the water got trapped under the hood and just made an absolute mess of the underhood stuff. But the reason that I bought this car wasn't due to what's under the hood, it's due to what's under the car. We're in Minnesota, and in Minnesota, cars rot from the bottom up. And because of the salt and such, finding a car here, these cars have a boxed tube frame on them. And that frame tends to trap salt and moisture in them. And this car never got driven in the salt. It came from California. It was a summer driven only car. And you can see how solid these wheel wells and quarter panels are. The trunk floor needs to be replaced, much for the same reason. It's intact, but it's got pinholes, just like everything under the hood, because water gets trapped in those compartments. But where the car was able to breathe, the underside of the car and the floor pans and the frame are in really, really nice shape. I have looked at 30 cars over the past 20 years in hopes to find one that will replace some of the ones that I sold, my 67 and my 69. And anybody that's a car person, this is under the car as well as I can, will tell you, finding a car with this solid of an underside in Minnesota is next to impossible. You can see the exhaust pipe even is still intact, and that's the first sign when you look at a Minnesota car. If the exhaust is all rotted out, you already know the floor is gone. But on these, the frame's rotted out even before the exhaust or the rockers did, and this frame is absolutely solid. The rocker panels and door panels and everything are in amazing shape, and the door bottoms and such. So other than some flaking, and then we get to the really impossible stuff, like the inside of the wheel wells. And other than some martinizing, rust proofing that's flaking off, the inside of the wheel wells and outside of the wheel wells on this car are in just absolutely amazing condition. So unlike looking at a Minnesota car where you look at the bottom and look to see what is savable above it, this car is all good on the bottom, and it's just the engine bay is a mess. Well, anybody that knows me knows I don't give a shit about driveline or engine parts. Those are easy. I can swap an engine in a couple of hours. Now the passenger side here was sitting right along his driveway for about the past 4 years, and so it's right at the edge of the grass line. So we do have a bit of moisture rust here, crystallizing, but once again, it's just surface. So I will do a full frame off restoration on this car because it's worth it. I've got a lot of other projects that you could put 15 grand into them and end up with an $8,000 car when you're done. Fortunately, one of the reasons that I've been looking for these is because this body of car in the past 10 years has really taken off in value. This car is worth between $20,000 and $40,000 when done, depending on how we do it. And so unlike my Nash, where like I say, I could put 15 grand into it and end up with an $8,000 car, this thing would be worth putting $15,000 into it, because with $15,000 plus our skill level, we'll end up with a $30,000 to $35,000 car when we're done. So that's our 66 Cutlass. Thank you very much to the amazing family that gave us this opportunity. I hope that we can do a good honor to this car and to this family and bring this baby back to life. Thanks for watching.